the recording is in progress. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. Just jot down in the chat your name, organization you're with, and a little bit about you, your role, and your organization. Emails are always encouraged as well. And then I will also add, if you have something to share with the group, please add that to the chat as well. And I will also add to that, that if you have something else that you want us to email out to this group too, forward that on to us as well. So we'll make sure that that happens too. So Dave, just a little bit, I'm sure Sarah filled you in background of the group. This group was born out of the pandemic to do better in our communities, and specifically focus on, well, when it began, it's what we're still talking about was COVID, the impact of COVID, and making sure our most vulnerable are connected with area resources. And then since then, Dave, we've been rolling through and focused on health equity, access to vaccinations and information as a priority. And we have hosted more than 70 community-wide vaccination events throughout the 3-county region. So we're thrilled to have you here, and I know we're going to roll into a few agenda items, Dave, before you are up, and Sarah will be introducing you more formally. Again, I'm just asking everyone, add your name, your organization, a little bit about what you do, and please include if there's anything else to share with the group, like an upcoming event or a program. I know many of us were at Latino Fest on Saturday, and it was so great just to go to all the different tables and see all the information out there. I am picking up some feed on the background, so somebody might need to mute. I'm not sure who that is. Oh, thank you. We're going to give another 30 seconds before we roll into this meeting. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Feel free. You can see people introducing themselves and their organizations in the chat. I believe we have some representatives from the Mexican consulate on this call as well. Hi, David and Francisco. How are you?
Oh, good. Good to see you guys. I'm just gonna join for a little bit because we have a show in less than an hour. But I'm here, super happy to join you guys and try to learn a little bit of more of what you're doing. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for being here. With that, just one more reminder, introduce yourself in the chat. Anything you want to promote, upcoming event, program, service that would be beneficial for this group and our respective communities is always appreciated. Include your emails as well, too, if somebody wants to get a hold of you for more information. Plus, always remember that we are available channels. So in addition, if you want to send us PDFs or something that's going on or talk more to this group, let us know too. We always encourage that. So again, welcome to everyone for joining us. I know it's been a little bit of time since our last meeting. We're just thrilled that everybody is here to join us. Just wanted to roll through a couple of agenda items. And always welcome questions too. So if anybody has questions as I'm rolling through this, we do have in the works a vaccination clinic planned for St. Vincent de Paul's on November 1st. So we're excited to be on site for that event. Then October 12th, there is the New Monk Professionals Networking event. Dr. Pam, or I'm not sure if Long is on here. Did you want to add anything to that regarding the networking event?
No, Long's not going to join us today. He's in a different meeting, but yes.
Okay.
So it's a networking, but it's also a conference on upscaling for Hmong professionals, and also it's open to the community, the public, if other people want to attend. And as it gets closer and there's some more details that are being finalized, we'll share that with all of you. So thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. And then also just wanted to draw your attention to Pointers has a career event for Appleton Area School District students of color at Fox Valley Technical College, and that will be on October 27th. I think I just saw a flyer come out for that, so we'll make sure that we forward that to all of you. And then in addition, on November 9th, there is a college and career exploration event. We are working on getting that flyer together as well to promote. That is November 9th again. And we are going to be focusing on students of color for the day, and then to attend in the evening to go back to the event with their families as well. And then really focused on barriers that are encountered by families of color when it comes to college and career exploration and building the event around that. Anyone have any questions or have anything that maybe they wanted to promote that wasn't included in the chat or just wanted to emphasize or share?
I just included something in the chat, but it's a pleasure to see and meet everybody. My name is Maria Carmen from Rich Counseling here, and we have an event coming up on October 5th at Beckett's Restaurant in Oshkosh. We're gonna have the Aztec dancers and Spanish singer to support this event for Latino survivors of sexual abuse and domestic violence. So everyone is welcome. And if anyone is interested in having like a booth, informational booth, I put my contact there as an email. So if you like to send me an email, I can add you to the list and they can send you an invite.
Thank you for sharing that. And that's October 5th, correct?
October 5th.
Perfect. Francisco, did you have something?
Yes, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to meet all of you. Just for you to know that here at the consulate, we are hosting from October the 3rd to the 7th, the Binational Health Week, where we will have different seminar sessions, like briefing sessions for the community in order for these people to know about the health services and opportunities that they have here in Wisconsin. So if you're interested in participating in this event, maybe with a briefing session, with a workshop, it can be online or in person here at the consulate. And you are very welcome to participate in this event with health services that you could provide to the Latino community here. All right, thank you. Anyway, I will put some more details here on the chat so that you could know more about it.
Thank you, Francisco. And you'll be able to send us more information to promote and share with this group as well. Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Me. Sorry, Lisa. Just a compliment about, a little more information about what Francisco says. We're having different, they're talking about different subjects. Everything's gonna be in Spanish, but there's people talking about cancer, sexual health, what else? Well, we also invite you guys. We send an invitation to Lisa. We talk about community clinics. We invite we send an invitation to Trish, and we're working with this different organization. We're going to talk about Alzheimer's Association, Cancer Society. We're going to have side tests from Prevent Blindness Wisconsin, and we're going to have flu shots from City of Milwaukee. We're going to have free COVID vaccines as well. We're going to have blood pressure tests, glucose tests, and we're trying to get like a little more stuff, perhaps like a yoga session, one or two we're thinking of, or we're still putting everything together. So it's open to anyone who wants to take advantage of these services, and it's usually from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if anyone would like to come, they're more than welcome. They don't need an appointment or anything. They just come to the consulate. And like Francisco told you guys, if anyone wants to like participate, We ask to be that anyone who's participates is able to speak in Spanish because most of the community we serve it's Latino. So, but anyone can join us. Thank you.
Thank you, David. That's great information. And just to be clear that that's taking place from October 3rd through the 7th every day, correct? Okay. Thank you. Anything else to share? And I'm sorry if I am missing a raised hand or if anybody has to say something. I'm always trying to toggle between the two screens here with everybody's faces on it. Well, good. I think with that, Sarah, I will turn it over to you from Valley Transit to introduce our next guest speaker. Just to give you a little bit of background before I turn it over to you is, as the Multicultural Coalition, we have 3 pillars that we're focused on: health equity, workforce development, and accessible, affordable housing. So just as a reminder, just to give you greater context, and we're always looking for ideas, whether it's here, local, regional, or statewide, other communities, of what's taking place in any of those areas. So Dave was, your name was given to me and I cannot think of the person. It was somebody from UW Oshkosh, maybe a Carrie. A while back, and then she strongly encouraged us to contact Dave. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Sarah.
Excellent. Lisa, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'm having computer problems just like Brian. So coming to us live from Barron County today. Bear with me as I read Dave's bio. I had the pleasure of getting a little insight into what Dave is sharing today, and I'm super excited. We are the community that loves to learn, and we also are the community that acknowledges that we are not where we want to be. So David Armstrong is the Executive Director of Barron County Economic Development Corporation. Barron EDC has 3 primary areas of focus: business services, community development, and tourism. Dave was born in St. Paul, Minnesota, attending St. Bernard's High School and Metro State University. He considers himself a serial entrepreneur, starting and growing businesses and selling 2 successful companies. In 1996, he sold the assets of MetaWorks Inc. and relocated to Sarasota, Florida, where he was the Vice President of Screening and Collection Services and directed the mergers and acquisitions efforts of Health Corp Evaluation Services and later ClinNet Services LLC, purchasing 14 businesses. Quick pause before I go on. Please mute.
Oh God, I don't care.
Not.
You can have my Zoom password.
Oh, I'm not sure who. You got it? Okay.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so David relocated to Houston, Texas upon the sale of ClinNet to start National Accounts Driven, a division for the Drug Intervention Services of America, and then to Barron County in 2005. In 2007, he purchased a medical transcription company, which he sold 3 years later. Dave was elected to Rice Lake City Council in 2009 and held that position until 2013, when he was offered the position of Executive Director of Barron County Economic Development, which he has held since that time. And he was elected to the state legislature representing the 75th Legislative District in 2020, and is also still holding that role. So a man of many talents, Dave. I'm sure this bio doesn't quite sum it all up. So we'll give the floor to you, and we appreciate you joining us.
Great. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. What I'm going to talk about today is, I guess, when I thumb everything up, kind of sum everything up, when I got the job here as Barron County Economic Development, workforce issues weren't even discussed. This was back in 2013. Probably 2015, 2016, I started hearing from employers, we can't find enough workforce. So that kind of set us on the journey that brings us to, I guess, where I am right now. Right now, my life pretty much revolves around workforce, housing, and childcare. You have to work on all 3 of them at the same time, or you're not going to make any progress. Barron County's a small county. It's 30 by 30 square. We've got about 49,000 people in the county. Right now, I've got about 900 probably closer to 1,000 open jobs we just can't fill. I mean, there's just not enough people here. So what we ended up doing is we first started in the Twin Cities to market to the Twin Cities, relocate to Barron County. I don't, as economic development, chase businesses at all to relocate here. We've got a startup program that we've started over 250 businesses. In fact, I was looking through those numbers last night, and about 40% of them so far have been multicultural, which has been fun. We ended up working right now with a Latina grocery store in Rice Lake this whole week. I'm okay. Half of my family is of Mexican descent, so I'm okay in Spanish. I know all the bad words because we learned those really early on, but we ended up having to get a translator to work with this gal. And what she's doing is she wanted to expand her grocery store to include food, restaurant. Well, what we ended up doing was she's going to put a permanent food truck next to the restaurant, cook the food in the restaurant, serve it through the food truck to kind of grow her way into a full-blown restaurant. So my background is very diverse, coming from St. Paul, Minnesota, bigger city, used to it. I've been around. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've lived in Houston. I've lived in the Tampa Bay area of Sarasota. So I've been around the country. When I got here, the first thing we looked at when we started looking at workforce issues is we've got in Barron, the city of Barron, we've got a pretty good Somali population. It's about a third of the city, so it's good size. And so we started working with them. Coupled with Somali, you've got Islam, and so I had to learn Somali culture, but also a lot about Islam because. Like, for example, on the housing issues with Somalis, they can't pay interest, okay, because Islam forbids it. So we had to get creative on, all right, how are we going to get them financed? And within a banking system that's all built on interest, that was interesting. We're coming up with a co-op model right now for housing, single family, multifamily housing for them. And I think it's going to be a home run. So we'll be working with that. But the one thing I think we're going to talk about most today is we started looking at, all right, how do I get more people in Barron County? We can fight the battles everybody fights right now. The states fight, the areas fight of trying to get people here already in the United States to relocate to your area. I mean, it's very complex working that route. We came across a program called the PERM program. It's PERM. And what it is, it's a permanent replacement worker program that is available right now. And we ended up finding a company in California that specialized in Filipino, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. All right. So we ended up working a program with them originally for healthcare to get nurses' aides, because that's a perpetual issue right now. To date, we've got about a little over 70 have arrived, and we've got about another 500 over the next 2 years arriving. And it's been a blessing, number one, getting them in here. In the beginning, well, let me explain the program and I'll explain some of the nuances too. All right, with the permanent replacement worker program, a company has to work with the feds, immigration, and they have to prove that there's a need. And how you prove a need is you take out an ad in the largest regional paper. For here would be Eau Claire. And then you just document, you do it twice, you document how many people apply and how many people you hire. As of right now, virtually little people, because there's not enough people, virtually little apply or nor are hired there. So once we've got that, behind the scenes, you've got the company that we work with has an immigration attorney. She's working with the company. Through that process, they determine, the feds determine how many workers you can bring in. The nursing home group that I worked with originally was allotted 90 originally. Now we've branched off into manufacturing and others. I think the highest is 120. The lowest is 30. We've even got one large farm looking at this as well. So with the program, the company finds the workers. We've gotten them directly from the Philippines, but there's a big population of Philippines that work abroad already. Ultimately, they all want to get to the United States, so it's good for us. But we've had some come from directly from Israel, some from the Philippines. We've had 2 from Sri Lanka and 1 from Nepal. There's always issues when they get here as far as whatever professional certifications they have of those transferring over. For example, the first gal that came from Nepal was a full-blown nurse, an RN in Nepal, not here. All right. She qualified as a CNA here, certified nursing assistant, but with work from, I want to keep saying WITC, Wisconsin Indiana Technical College, who changed their name to Northwoods College. But we got her into Northwoods College. Now she's up to RN after 3 years, I think she's been here now. And she just bought her first home here in the city of Barron. So that's exactly what I want to see happen. All right. I need the influx of immigrants. I need the influx of people to the area. And the whole idea is for them to be here, to flourish, to grow families, etc. Because as most people here know, we've got a population problem. It's in our area, I'm graduating about 50% of the kids each year go off to college. All right. We're not replacing those kids by a birth rate. All right. So eventually, but I'm going to fight that one. Eventually, it'll come to a point where we start running out of people. All right. Hence the need for immigration and more people moving here. And the nice thing about it is, traditionally, when you see immigrants come, depends on how they come. Refugees have been a little different issue than pure immigrants. Refugees kind of have to be here. What we've noticed is first generation refugees don't want to melt. They want their culture. They want, because they're forced, they're displaced someplace else. Their children, though, completely different story. And that's what we found with the Somalis. So I work real closely with the children of the first refugees that were brought here. In fact, one of them was just elected, which is a great story, to the city of Barron City Council. Okay, so it's great seeing these wins, if you will, and becoming firmly entrenched in the community. So with the PERM program, once the company gets the okay to start bringing individuals in, the process takes 18 months to 2 years. All right, because it's not a fast process. Now there's a way to speed that up with the federal government, but it costs. Right now, on average, it's costing the company about $700 per worker to get them here. All right. But because it's a PERM program, the workers, the immigrants that are coming in, they pay their own travel. They do all their background checks, vaccinations, et cetera, in the home country prior to coming here. That's all verified by the American Embassy in that country. So literally, when they arrive, they show up with a carry-on and a suitcase. All right. Then it's the employer's responsibility, which we assisted with initially here, get them from the airport to a place to live. We got lucky in the beginning because we found a nursing home that basically closed because they couldn't find enough employees for it. And so the employer ended up retrofitting the nursing home to more of a, call it a dormitory style living. And so when the immigrants would arrive, we'd get them there. And then the one thing which is great, because you don't notice, you never noticed how many Filipinos were already here, because they came out of the woodwork then to assist us with the new arrivals. My wife and I typically were bringing the first ones on a driving tour of Barron County. You know, here's where you get different places, to groceries, here's clothes, here's et cetera, et cetera. we had to do it twice, the first two groups, and then the Filipinos themselves took over, bringing in the new arrivals. With the program, there's been no downside, which has been interesting of it, because all of them have worked out well here. They all have, I mean, embraced. We've even got a grocery store now here in downtown Barron, a Filipino grocery store, along with a Somali grocery store. But the programs worked well. As more employers found out about it, we branched out from the healthcare side to now it's into manufacturing. We got one construction company that's looking at it. I'm trying to think some of the others. Like I said, we've got about 500 in place right now of individuals coming in. I'll take as many as I can get, frankly. Again, back to the demographics. I like babies. We need a lot of babies. We've got to build up the population for, again, those 50% of the kids that are going out. What we found with immigrant families that come in traditionally want larger families. Again, goes back to Dave wants lots of babies. So that's been great for us. Now that we've seen them starting to get out into their own apartments, start buying their own homes, everything we hoped would happen has happened. Now, support services. We've had to work with I want to go back to WITC, Northwoods College, because Northwoods College does a lot of the training for additional upskilling of these individuals. The local high school here, Barron County Area School District, has worked not a lot, but they offer English as a second language. So we've had those support services in place. We've got the big health systems here, you know, the Marshfield clinics, the Mayo clinics, Prevea. But the ones we found that have been used most is we've had two independent clinics start over the last couple of years, one headed by a PA and one headed by a nurse practitioner. We find those clinics are used the most because it's probably it's not a big system. It's not as intimidating as going into like a Marshfield clinic or a Mayo. And so they've been giddy with this as well. So it's all worked out well. Now we've got our first two Ukrainian families in. Just 2 weeks ago, they showed up. That's part of the problem too, is they showed up. We're trying to get a better handle of how they're getting here so we can work closer with them prior to arriving. We tried for the Afghan refugees, but that was a disjointed process when they came in. And we found that there's no relocation agencies in the western part of the state, so we didn't see any of the Afghans at all. I have found a company now that is doing the same PERM program, but from Poland. And so now we're working on potential Polish workers coming in as well. Overall, the program's been fantastic. Like I said, I'll take as many as we can get, because we need them in our cities, our villages, and our towns. I need them in the workforce. We just need here. Hopefully, eventually, the feds will get their stuff together and deal with immigration as a whole, because then we won't have to go through Herculean efforts to get immigrants into the communities. I'm not going to hold my breath, but let's hope it happens fairly soon. I guess I'll stop with that and just open it up for any questions if that's all right.
Dave, thank you for sharing all of that. And I just wanted to ask one brief question. Can you give everybody a visual of where Barron County is?
Sure. Northwest Wisconsin, we're about 60 miles north of Eau Claire. You just go straight up Highway 53, you'll hit Barron and Rice Lake north of, basically we're kind of midpoint almost between Eau Claire and Superior.
Okay. And you said it was 30 by 30 miles?
Yep, that's our county is 30 miles by 30 miles.
Holy cow, that's small.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, I guess I do have one more question too, as we're kicking off questions from everyone here, is you mentioned one of the other challenges, I know this is a little bit off topic, but they go hand in hand, childcare.
Oh yeah, it's my biggest, honestly, it's one of my biggest challenges at this point. What we've done there is, oh God, I could talk an hour just on that one. All right, for childcare, for example, working with the Somalis, what we found is the Somalis like taking care of Somalis. All right. So what we've done is we've worked with 2 different groups within the Somali to set up a Somali daycare. Of all things, it was actually an Ethiopian gal that started the first one, and it worked out great. For the rest of the county, I've got the city of Cumberland, the village of Almena, and the city of Chetek are classified as childcare deserts by DCF. The city of Rice Lake, it's about 9,500 people, swells to about 13,000 with the incoming workers each day. They've only got 370 licensed slots in the whole city. All right, so we've got childcare issues. The issues have been, again, going back to my startup program, we've helped 2 daycares start, one larger one smaller in-home one. We've helped sell 3 daycares because I can't afford to let any of my daycares go kaput. Daycares aren't money makers, all right? They're not cash cows. So they can't support a huge building, either buying or renovating. So we've had to think outside the box. The county, Barron County, has been phenomenal for thinking outside the box. All right. And so the county's come forward and said, hey, we've got a building in Rice Lake not being used right now, good sized building, 40,000 square feet. Can you use it for daycare? Yeah, hallelujah. That'll be about 150 kids. So what we're doing now is we're working. I just had the state building inspector in here Friday to see what needs to be done to get it ready for childcare. I've got a nonprofit childcare, a daycare in Rice Lake that is set to take it over and expand it. But now what we're doing is we're working in conjunction with the school districts in Chetek, Barron, and Cumberland, also the city of Cumberland, to work on daycare there. Now, we've reached out to the businesses. I bring all of the businesses, all the HR folks together in the spring and the fall just to talk issues. At our last meeting last spring, we meet in 2 weeks, I just asked which companies would be willing to offer childcare as a benefit. All hands went up. Okay, I had 27 companies there. And so what we're doing now is we're working under the premise that the daycares will buy slots, or the companies will buy slots in the daycare, not pay for their individuals' daycare, buy slots. All right. And by buying the slots in the daycare, that money would go to the daycare to be used exclusively for childcare worker pay. Because as everybody knows, childcare workers' pay is atrocious. Okay. We've got one daycare here we're working right now to sell. They've still got people working with children that are making $10 an hour. Okay. I don't know how they do it. I do. I mean, what they've done is they've offered free daycare as a way to keep the workers. And I mean, that's worth something. So anyways, childcare is one of my biggest single issues right now throughout the county, because there's not a community that has enough capabilities for what they've got.
Thank you, Dave, for sharing that. And I want to rush along because I know, David, you're on a tight timeline. You want to go ahead and ask a question as well? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. More than asking a question, I would like to congratulate Dave. For what I hear, you've been doing an amazing job, and I thank you for that. I hope you keep doing what you do, and I hope more people can take your example and expand this all over the state of Wisconsin, because I know I see like immigrants from different cultures. They're all hard workers, and they're here to support that community. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
That's
thank
all.
you very much. Like I said, I wish we had this immigration issue dealt with, because If you look at the history of any region in the state, like our history, for example, Barron County, look at a small city, Cumberland. I mean, as it was settled, I mean, we've had waves of Spanish workers, we've had waves of Italian workers and Italian families. So all through history, there's been new individuals coming in, and it's like, hallelujah, that's what makes a community type of thing, and we need more of.
And thank you, Dave. Brian, did you still have a question?
I just wanted to know the housing situation, Dave. Like if we are to, look at relocation of, I'm in Fox Valley Technical College in the Fox Cities, and even if we were encouraging people to pursue positions or jobs or opportunities in the north, what are the housing restraints or opportunities for newcomers?
Sure. Since 2019, that's been like the full-time job as additional housing. What we first had to do here was prove a need for developers to come in. So we did a countywide housing study, and it showed exactly what we thought. 0% availability for rental units, 0% availability for single-family homes. Once we had that data, we could shop it to developers. Rice Lakes had probably 300 new units built in the last 2 years. Cumberland's got, I think, a third of the city probably in a TID right now. They're building new homes. Monies are out there for low to moderate income, and it's fairly easy to find right now. I don't mess around with the 300,000 and above because I don't need to. They kind of take care of themselves as far as home. Our biggest single challenge is that missing middle. There's nothing available, virtually nothing available for the missing middle. That would be, say, my factory workers at Henry Firearms or Rice Lake Weighing Systems or McCain's Foods that are making, like, say, a combined 60, 70,000 a year for a combined family income. There's nothing for that middle. Now, that's what I'm attacking the other job at the legislature for more housing. But if you look at specifically for this program, what you have to have available is transitional housing, some place where the incoming workers can go initially. And we've, again, been pretty lucky with that so far. What we found, one of the cheese companies here that's going to be bringing 90 in is their own general managers started buying up buildings in the village of Turtle Lake, and that's where he's going to use them when they're first come. Now they can pay right away off the, I mean, they're employed as soon as they get here. You basically, when they arrive, you got to get them their green card and you get them their social security card. That takes about 2 weeks. Then they're employed at this point. What we found is the Filipinos like living, they're not Americans, so they don't have huge places to live. They like rooming together. So we've seen 3s and 4 of them move out in apartments themselves. So it's been great. So the challenge is when you first get them here, you've got to house them for a while. Transportation can be a little bit of a challenge, but what we found is, again, either the company will provide some assistance for getting them to and from work, or they already have some family members here in the US. One individual, he got here, his car arrived from California about a week later, type of thing. So there are some challenges. This isn't, a panacea. So you've got to find the transitional housing to start out with. You got to do some work for transportation. But again, if anybody has any questions, what we ended up doing was we've had Zoom meetings, and I just bring in the individuals from the company we use in California, and we can do a Zoom meeting we did one for all of Polk County, and then Northwest Workforce Board had one 2 weeks ago where there must have been 100 people on the Zoom, and they were able to explain the PERM program and all of the challenges as well.
Go ahead, Dr. Pam.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Dave, for all of that information. I find that very interesting as we are looking at, workforce development and the challenges there. When you talk about this program, is it really more geared more towards individuals coming in and getting jobs, or are we looking at relocating families that are coming with these different individuals? And
Sure.
if families are coming, how are they being supported in your community, and how does that look?
Sure. We've just had our first two. It's individuals in the beginning, but then they can request that the family come. So we've had the first two families arrive. Where we help as an economic development entity there is like the one gal from Nepal, who was our first one here. Her husband came in, he needed a job. All right. So we ended up helping him. Again, in Nepal, he was an engineer, but his specialty was plate tectonics. Not a big call for that up in northern Wisconsin. So, but we ended up getting him married up with a local engineering firm here, and it worked out great. But there again, when you start looking at English as a second language, that's where the Barron School District helped with the son that came in with him as well. So to answer your question directly, yes, it's individuals first that first come, but then they can bring family members afterwards.
Okay. And then along that thought, it was just, as we look at bringing people in, are you looking at people with specialized skills? Is that why we're going to other countries to bring in? And, if that's the case, or are you looking for general laborers? And if we're looking for general laborers, my question to you is, what are your thoughts around undocumented workers that we can bring in and do some work with that are already here? That if we can work through that immigration piece, to your point, Dave, that they are hard workers, they come, they're loyal, they do what they need to do. And we have these opportunities where we don't have to expend so much money on all these travel arrangements and things like that, but just to be able to tap that piece of it without having to exert so much financial resources for other things, right? For like general laborers. I can see where if you're bringing people in as specialists, and you bring them in from other countries because they're a specialist, that I understand. But I'm just thinking about how we can truly leverage some of the really great workforce opportunities that we have in existence already.
Sure. No, I would agree with you 100%. If we can ever get the feds to quit playing politics with immigration and just do something with it, that's our biggest single issue there. But no, you're right. And I've got employers up for Seneca Foods, for example. A big migrant population comes in each year and assists them. They're here all summer. I love them to death. I wish I could keep them here. I can't, we just had last week, Border Patrol showed up. I mean, that puts fear into all of the employers at that point. So you've got the employers not wanting to do the undocumented and being almost forced to look at perm, or some of them are doing the temporary, the H-2Bs where they can come in for, was it 7 months? I think I've got two of them that are doing that. You've had some working on Puerto Rico. They're American citizens to try to get a pipeline of Puerto Ricans here as well. But no, I agree with you 100%, but it's kind of in the feds, but it's in their hands right now to do something about this.
Thank you, Dr. Pam. Thank you, Dave. Connie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering about countries. Are there specific countries that you choose to work with, or are there only certain countries that you can work with? And I'm, kind of following along with what Dr. Pam was saying, we have so many people here who have relatives in Mexico and Central America who would love to come and of course can't.
Correct. Yeah. And the way it's kind of worked out with us is we haven't targeted any areas. It's just the companies we work with, they seem to specialize in countries. All right. So the one we worked with originally and done the most work with is called International Manpower Connection. They're out of California. It's actually two Filipinos that own it, husband and wife. And so they pull from the Philippines, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. This other group we found out of Chicago deals with Eastern Europe, i.e. Poland. So they tend to pull from Poland, and I think they're getting some of the Ukrainians here as well. So it's more driven by the immigration company than us per se, because I'll take them from wherever right now.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question?
And if anybody's, there's a Hmong conference tomorrow in Eau Claire, so I'll be down there presenting there as well. If anybody's going to be there, I'll say hello then.
Yes, we heard of the Hmong conference taking place. I can't believe it's here already.
Yep.
That is crazy.
I can't believe it's already September already this year. It's been crazy. You know?
I know. Ever since the pandemic started, it's like everything's a blur. Any other questions for Dave? We appreciate you sharing with us, Dave. This is super helpful. I'm just curious if anyone has heard of the PERM program. Can I see a show of hands? No, I'm seeing a lot of shaking heads. And that is the first that I've heard of that program. Like, we just Google that and look it up, or?
Yeah, or I can send you a link too, and you can take a look at it.
Okay.
And if you'd like to go any farther, I can set up the immigration company we use. Like I said, they've done a lot of Zooms lately, if anybody wants more information on that.
Yeah, Dave, if you wouldn't mind sending that along to us, that
Sure.
would be awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you started talking about the PERM program, I was kind of curious if anybody else on this call had heard of it. So
Sure.
That right there is the little golden nugget. Any other questions for Dave? Anything you wanted to add, Dave, at all?
No, just thanks everyone. It was a pleasure meeting everybody.
Oh, thank you. And I think we are at a conclusion for this meeting, and it's actually a little bit early, but I'll hang out while everybody's bugging off. If anybody has questions, Dave, if you wouldn't mind hanging out with me for a few extra minutes
Sure.
here too.
Yep.
We appreciate each and every one of you being a part of this call, and it was so nice to see many of you at Latino Fest on Saturday. That was awesome. Who cares about rain? It didn't slow us down at all. So thank you everyone for your participation today, and stay tuned for your next emails, and please keep sharing with us so we can get information out to the group. So